One of my first mentors when I got to Joburg is a gentleman called Jack. He founded with Chow EmpoweredX.
Yes.
And they became the first BE rating company, etc., etc. It's not important. What's important is this. Jack taught me, he's written books as well about, I think it's 7 pillars of Black economic empowerment before it became triple BE. There's socioeconomic, there's skills development, there's employment equity, there's all these things. And I have to agree with you in saying there's been a lot of progress under the same BE policy that a lot of us either are not aware of or we almost brush it to the side. That the reason you are hired, this upsets white people. The reason you are hired is because you're Black.
Yes.
You may have been at the same level. You may have been better than the white person. You may have been slightly less. But the bottom line is they needed to hire Black. And that's the reason you got the job and can buy a nice house and send your kids. I fully agree with that. And when it comes to that policy, I really think the ANC government did well, could do better, but tried. The issue is this one pillar called preferential procurement, which is the one now you're speaking about mostly, or the one that I think we have the biggest issue with. Because when we speak white monopoly capital, when we speak the factors of production, the means of production, that's preferential procurement now there. That's the tenders and the biggest what. So this is our issue, or the people that complain outside of the ignorance. The political elite, and then some of the people that are connected to the political elite, including the marketing agencies, the IT companies. You know, I wanted to throw the names, and it's unfair because some of these people are going to drop me DMs, but it's okay. They know themselves. There's marketing companies that make millions because of BE. There are IT companies I know now that initially merged with white companies. Now they stand on their own. I think some of them are listed. There are construction companies. There's a lot of very wealthy Black people. The issue that people have, and the reason why it feels like BE has failed, because it has. Jack has said to me, I think over 80% of the value generated, I don't know how many hundreds of billions, at the end of the value chain ends up in the same white hands. The problem is that there's a small group. We can count all of them. You and I can go back and forth. Maybe we can come up with 200 Black people that are rich in this country. But it's still only 200 out of 62 million people or 48 million Black people. And it hasn't done what it's needed to do. And the ANC government is meant to, and this is my criticism, it's meant to come out and say, guys, we had this idea, and this is what we've done. This is how many kids we've put through tertiary that would have never gone there. It's how many Black doctors we have today we would have never had, lawyers, etc. Senior advocate Dalimpofu today, we have to say, has gotten, in the same way Elon Musk makes money because of government tenders in America. This is what we've done. We feel we can do better. They did that with triple BEE. It's still not working. This is where we're wrong. I'm Cyril, I own game farms, they are not telling some of us, we're a small group of middle class that want to vote for other parties. They're not being honest with us. Instead, they still go and they gaslight, if you don't vote for us, you won't get social grants. They still want to speak about apartheid. To what you're saying, when you get upset with a person being like, how dare you, after getting BE placements, after getting tenders, after living in a big home in Bryanston, want to complain, the ANC, that person should be someone else, not you. And you're right. I'm saying that group is so small. And not all of us are going to be rich, of course, but it looks like they are not doing the things they're meant to be doing. They are still working with the people we're claiming are a problem. And they're not being honest to us to say, look, we fell short somewhere, but we're also not willing to let go of this privilege that we go or share it with you guys either.
I think I don't agree with you there in the aspect that you say there's about 200 people that, it's a number. Sorry. But I want us to keep reflecting on what it is that the papers say. The 44,000. And 44,000, I'm probably 2 years out.
Sure.
So probably it's actually risen from 44,000. The 44,000 millionaires, US dollar millionaires in this country.
Colored and Indian.
Yes.
The 19,000.
Yes. The 19,000 it includes colors and Indians, correct. Those are the people that are classified as Black. All right. But what I'm trying to argue is that there is a whole lot more Black people in this country that have been empowered and to become multimillionaires.
Sure.
But those are the guys that are hustling. There's a lot of people that want to be rich. There's a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people that want tenders, but they haven't done what it takes to get those tenders and to get this business.
Yeah.
That is why now you've got the issue of foreigners coming into this country, starting spazas, starting service stations, starting businesses. I think you heard in Mpumalanga there was that guy called Sam, a Zimbabwean boy.
Sam Holdings.
The guy didn't even have papers from what the documents say. Came here and had a fleet of trucks that carry coal.
Call him Mashaba and Gates and Mackenzie. He must go.
Not only is he doing that, there are a number of Zimbabweans in the Mpumalanga area that are actually monopolizing the carrying of coal outside the white corporations.
Sure.
Now, my question is, how does a Zimbabwean jump a border without papers, come into South Africa, start a business like that, dominate an arena? Where are the black South Africans? Where's Penwell? Why are they dominating? How are they dominating? That is what
because
we now need to make.
ANC. That's why they benefit.
But if the corrupt NC can so-called corrupt, get corrupted to that extent that a person makes money, where are the black South Africans to be corrupted as well?
No, it's okay. We can ask where the blacks are. It's a very valid question. Enabled him to make money. The government is meant to be the one that's keeping out people because we have laws and it's failing. And you're saying keep voting for this guy. You just gave me another example of why I mustn't vote for the
But
ANC.
we have assumed that they have corrupted their way into the system. You understand? Because
let's assume Sam didn't have papers and became rich. Shout out to him. He's a hustler. Guys like that get to rule the world. And personally, on a personal level, I respect guys like him. I'd meet him. I'd be like, I'm so proud of you. This is great. But when we're speaking politically and those things, and you're trying to get me to vote, and I'm like, we're assuming this guy came here without papers, he became rich, you're asking valid questions, where are the black South Africans? The ANC government should never ever dare ask that question. Because I'd be like, you guys can go jump. How dare you be like, well, we hired him because where are you guys?
But remember, I'm not the ANC.
Sure.
All I'm trying to point out is that there are opportunities.
There are definitely
But why am I pointing out these opportunities? Because every single day when I'm failing to make that extra million, I keep asking myself, am I doing all that I can?
Yeah.
And I have to admit, when I see a Sam who's less educated than me, who's got less qualifications than me, I've got genuine papers to be in South Africa, but I'm failing to do what he did. Yeah. I've got to accept that I'm falling short.
100%.
And I want to say to all black South Africans, we have to start holding ourselves accountable, like I'm doing, to say, if I've got the papers, if I've got the degree, if I went to UCT, if I am a lawyer, why am I failing to do what a guy with no O-levels is doing? How does he come into a country, no papers, and he succeeds at this, but me, as Zimbabwean with papers, I'm failing to do what he did. So the opportunities,
personal accountability is something I have
and the
to
opportunities
agree with you 1,000%.
But that's what I'm saying, that the ANC has made these opportunities, and this is just one person. I'm saying Mpumalanga is full of these Zimbabweans who control these trucking companies.
Jesus, do you know what you're doing with what you're saying now?
I'm being honest.
You are literally sending people out there to be like, hey, Rutendo said, go and investigate. Go investigate in Mpumalanga. He said, Konama Zimbabweans that own trucking companies.
Not only trucking companies.
Jeez, now
coal mines.
More guys are catching strays.
Coal mines. But the question that helps us to get to the bottom of this is not just going to fight those Zimbabweans. It's saying, how did they do it?
Yeah.
What are they doing that we are not doing? So if you're a guy with a degree, we are a township. Ask yourself, why am I hungry? When a Zimbabwean can come, get a coal mine, get coal trucks, and start doing business. How did he get the first one?
Yeah.
How did he finance it? Where did the money come from? We have to start asking these questions as black people, because white people started asking the same question about Jews. They started asking the same question about the English. They started asking the same question about Italians. And when whites started having a joint mentality to say, let's do what these Jews, what these Greeks come and do when they come as immigrants. And don't forget, the Jews, the Italians, the Portuguese all came as illegal immigrants into this country.
100%.
They came as refugees. Yes. But I'm talking about in South Africa. Sure. They came as refugees. They came as people running away from persecution in Europe. They came running away from the Second World War. And when they got here, the Afrikaners saw these guys prospering more than them. Yeah. And they started asking, why are they prospering? And that's how the Afrikaner Broederbond started copying some of the techniques that these guys utilized. They started asking themselves, Indians came from Durban. They were indentured labor. Yes, we didn't make policies as restrictive to them as black people, but why are they owning shops?
Sure.
Why are they becoming multimillionaires? They asked themselves those questions and started consolidating their own industries and serving each other, buying from each other. They did not chase the Portuguese. They did not chase the Indians. Yeah. They said, let's do what they do.
I want to add to what you're saying.
That's what we need to start doing here. And I'm saying that ANC is one of the biggest failures, is failing to give black people the ideology on how to create wealth and to create a black economy that's going to help them be empowered. They glorified and created a class of young people who particularly came from the ANC Youth League of Thabo Mbeki, who flaunted money, who bought Ferraris, who consumed, who drank champagne, who became these drug lord type living people who didn't teach other black South Africans that wealth is not just to consume, is to actually consolidate and create more businesses, which is what Indians teach each other, which is what the whites teach each other, which is what the Jews teach each other. That's the mistake. The Thabo Mbeki Youth League, that where we started actually seeing the flaunting of wealth, failed to create an ideology of wealth creation. That is why sometimes when I hear Julius Malema and EFF saying they are about black economic emancipation, I've always asked, were you doing black economic emancipation when you were in the Youth League and squandering money on champagne, squandering money on women, and paying 10,000 mavuso every morning to the people that you had finished chowing? Was that empowerment?
She was empowering the woman in her family.
No.
10,000.
How do you empower a woman by giving her money to spend instead of giving her money to start a business?